if you look at the first one, where would your decimal be? Where is it currently? Sorry, before we move anything. Behind the 0. So then we move our decimal left twice. And what do we get? 0.9. Now I do want you to realize that this is also equal to this. Is it okay if you put the 0 on the end? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Do you have to? Mm-hmm. No. So either of those are perfect. So here, we're going to move our decimal left twice, and we get 1.159. Now here we have 9, and we move it to the left twice. What do I put in that empty loop? A 0. So we get 0.09. Any questions with that? Super simple, yes? Okay, so now what if we do the opposite? What if we go decimals to percents? What are our two steps, or two methods? Yeah, we're just going to do the opposite. So we can move decimal right twice. And multiply by 100. Okay, so I know y'all don't have calculators today. Tomorrow y'all will. I just haven't had time to go grab them because we're going to use different ones. But anything you need one for today on your practice, I'll help you with. So it says we have 3. So if our decimal is technically here and we're moving it to the right twice, what does that become? 300%. What does this one become?
What? Which one?
Number 5. So it's 0.2, so 0.2%, because when we move it twice, it's still in front of the 2. And what about this one?
478.
Because we move it twice and we get 478%. Perfect. Any questions with that? Simple. Okay, now it says turn percents into fractions. How do you think we would do that?
Put it over 100.
Yeah, put it over 100. Percents are out of 100, right? So if I rewrite this as 25 over 100, did I change anything? No. So now can I simplify that?
1/4.
Yeah, it's going to be 1/4. And some of y'all can look at some percents and tell right away what it is, and that's fine, especially with the simpler ones. However, if we didn't know it was 1/4, how would we simplify this? So but you would look at, I always look at my smallest number first. Does 25 go into 100? Yeah, how many times? That's where that 4 came from. 25 goes into 25 how many times? Once. So that's why it's 1/4. Does that make sense? So you can take whatever they have in common and divide it out. So then that's why you end up with 1/4. Okay, so on this one we can rewrite it as 70 over 100. Does anybody remember the rule when you simplify with the extra zeros? You can cross them out. They can cancel. So then we're left with 7/10. Does that simplify? 7's prime. Does 7 go into 10? No. So there's your answer. So then we have 93% over 100. And does that simplify? No, the only thing that goes into 93 is 3, however many times. And that does not go into 100, so we don't have to worry about it. So there's your answer. So our steps is to put your percent over 100 and simplify. Okay, now what about fractions into percents? Well, there's actually two methods, so I'm going to erase, or not erase, but cross off steps and put method. Okay, so this first one, it's already over 100. Percents are out of 100, so what's the percent? 87. We didn't have to do anything because the denominator was already 100. So that one was simple. But every once in a while we get ones like this with 3/8. Does 8 go into 100 easily? No, so we don't really want to do all that math. So what you can do is you can do 3/8 divided by, or 3 divided by 8 and give you your decimal, and you get 0.375. So this equals 0.375. Do we know how to turn decimals into percents? Yeah, we just talked about it. What do we do? Move it to the right twice. So what percent does this become? You're right, 0.5. Now this one is different, and there's a couple different ways to do it. I'm going to show you kind of both of these methods because they both work pretty simple. But first off, it's in, I'm going to rewrite it bigger. It's in proper form, right? So to get it back to a whole, just a fraction only, we're going to go backwards, or upside down, start at the bottom, and we're going to multiply here and add here. We want it to be an improper fraction. So what's 10 times 2? Plus 1. So this as an improper fraction is 21 over 10. Now, can we turn 10 into 100 easily? By doing what? Multiply it by 10. And when you multiply by 10, doesn't that just add a 0 to each?
Yep.
Yeah. So what percent do we have here? 210%. Now, if, I want you to realize we added that 0, so I'm going to draw a dashed line. If you were to have divided 21 divided by 10, you would have gotten 2.1. And now it's just like this. Change it into a percent, and you get 210%. So did it give you the same answer no matter which way you did it? Yes. Okay, so our methods are to get denominator equal to 100. Or divide and move decimal. So those are our two steps. We get, or not two steps, but two different methods. When you're done writing that down, I want you to flip to the back. Okay, so on the back, we have these where it's asking us which one is bigger or smaller, technically. We're figuring out which symbol we can plug in to make the statement true. So if I look here, I want you to realize they're in different place values. I don't know why that sounded so weird when I said it out loud. Okay, so this is to the 100th place, and this is to the 1000th place. It's easier when they're at the same place. So this is 3 things after. I want this to be 3 things after, so I can put a 0 and that changes nothing. So now looking at it, which one's bigger? The first one, because this is like almost like 30 and this is 3. So 30 is bigger. So here this is 100th place, 10th place. So if I add a 0, which one's bigger? 1.10 or 1.05? Yeah, 1.10. Okay, 2/5, if I divided that in my calculator, I get 0.4. So if I want it to the 100th place, I'm going to put a 0. So which one is bigger? Yeah, 0.44. Now, the next one, what's different about it?
It's negative.
It has negatives, and with negatives, we do the opposite. Okay? The smaller number is actually bigger. So which number is bigger?
2.5.
The negative 2.5. Any questions with those? Awesome. Okay, we're not going to do number 18 just because it's pretty simple, and there's no point in doing both. Okay, so again, if you had a calculator, could you do 4 divided by 15 and figure out what that equals? Yeah, so when we turn on our calculator, maybe, there we go. 4 divided by 15, this is not my favorite calculator, but you know, we get 0.26 repeating. Okay, so this just equals 0.26 repeating. Now, what is 1/4 as a decimal? Yeah, 0.25. Now, I'm actually going to add another number here, and I'm going to do 0.26. So we're going to talk about that. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 places. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I just like to draw lines. It makes my, I don't know, my heart happy. Okay, so I'm going to put them all because all of these I have in the 100th place, but this one I don't. So I'm going to put a 0 behind it. Now, which one's the smallest? The first one. So 0.2. Now which one? Yeah, 0.21. So 0.21. Now what? Yep. So I'm going to leave it in the form it was given to me, so 1/4. Now this is where it gets tricky. Words are hard today. Which one's bigger? With the 6 repeating, because repeating means I can put another 6 and it didn't change, right? But can I put another 6 here?
No.
No. What's the only thing I can put after this one to not change anything? 0. A 0. So is 266 bigger or 260? 266. So this is bigger, therefore this is smaller. So 1/4, sorry. No, 0.26. Goodness gracious. And then 4/15 is bigger. Okay, last one is just putting them on number lines. What's the easiest one right away to put on a number line?
-2.
-2. So 1, 2. Negatives go backwards. There's my -2. What else is pretty easy to plot right away? 2.2. So here I have 1, 2. So 2.2 is going to be like right after that. Now what? Yeah, what is 2 squared? 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Here is my 2 squared because this is 4. Now I could do -3. Oop, not that. Divide 2. And I get -1.5. So I can put that on there right here. Any questions with that? Pretty simple today, yes? It's just a bunch of little things put together. That's all it is. So there are a couple things because y'all don't have a calculator today that I'm going to help you with. So when you're done writing that down, flip to your practice. It's just the next page. Okay, if you look at number 14, because remember, this is turning fractions into percents, and 8 does not go into 100 pretty, so could we just divide this and get our decimal and then move the decimal? Mm-hmm. So if I do 1/8, I get 0.125. And so now is that my answer? No, you're going to have to move it and turn it into a percent, right? Okay, then flip to the back after you write that down. Okay, one thing I want you to realize on these, when you look at these, I'm not going to do it with you, but I want to kind of talk about it. You have 2 negatives, so we know those are smaller, right? Now, I have a fraction, but do I even need to change it? Well, look at the first number. You have -8 and -2. So does it matter what decimal place you have? No, because we know -8 is way smaller than -2. So you don't even have to change it into a decimal, right? Okay. This one y'all should be able to do, hopefully. What's 3/4 as a decimal? 0, so it's -0.075. And who knows -7/2? 2 goes into 7 how many times? 3 times. With what remaining? So 2, 4, 6. So you have 1 remaining, right, to get to 7 over 2. So it's actually 3.5. Typically, will you have a calculator to divide that? Yes. So you don't have to know that by your head. So that is what I'm giving y'all. So this is what you're working on.